Oh, this is difficult. I just listened to a potential unconfirmed transcript of what happened in the final moments of the Titan submersible. Now, first, many of us have already tried to imagine what it was like inside of this. I'm going to play clips from this vlog video. Obviously, I'm going to link these videos down below, but I want you to see what it was like inside of this submersible. Like, I will pause right here. So when we talk about the transcript of what may have transpired in the final minutes of the final 19 potentially critical minutes of this sub's dive, you could potentially feel what it would have been like in this small space. That black box, by the way, right there that they show, I'll show it again right here, that's your toilet, which hopefully nobody needs to use is the idea, but it's your just-in-case toilet with a little curtain to separate you from that area. And yes, you have to step over the toilet to look out the window to look at the Titanic. And this is you getting bolted in. Now, I'm going to go through this transcript in just a moment that I want to bring attention to, but I really wanted to freeze on a frame here where you have this. Basically, you've got the CEO right here of the company, Stockton Rush. You've got some folks sitting here with controllers, and these are your pilots in the final moments before just imploding and turning into jelly. There's actually a Mythbusters. You could look this up, like Mythbusters Rapid Implosion. I'm not going to show it here because it's really disturbing, but it kind of gives you an idea of what potentially ends up happening in an implosion. But anyway, take a look at this particular engineer here. Now, I'm going to give a more brief summary of this, so I encourage you to check out Jeff's channel here. But let's just take a look at the transcript. We'll go through it. I'll go through a short version of it. But basically, they're descending. Everything's all clear. And what you've got here is Jeff has rewritten the transcript. This is an unconfirmed transcript between topside and the submersible. So it's unconfirmed. We want to be clear about that. We do not know if this is accurate, though we do know that James Cameron indicated that this submersible was in a rapid ascent, which generally, or at least attempting a rapid ascent. Generally, if you're attempting an ascent before you got down to the Titanic, you've kind of decided, you know what, we got a U-turn. Something's going on. James Cameron mentioned that once, and he never mentioned it again, which was also really odd. In fact, if you've been paying attention on social media, and no worries if you haven't, but if you have, you'll be noticing people are saying, like, I downloaded the first interview with James Cameron where he said they were ascending. How does he know? Well, he's probably really close in that community, that submersible and submarine community, especially around the Titanic, because he's done the dives before. And so maybe he has a little bit more insight than a lot of people potentially give him credit for. But the fact that he hasn't said that again is really odd, because it does send this harrowing potential signal that maybe the individuals on the submersible were fighting for their lives for a good 19 minutes. That this wasn't just a happy-go-lucky ride down and then you're gone. So it's like you're here and happy and then you're gone. Which is generally, like, if you're going to have to check out the way most people, as morbid as it is, would probably prefer. 19 minutes of hell? It's bad. So anyway, all clear here. Jeff's rewritten the transcript, so we're going to jump around here. Enjoy the dive, so we got some footage here. Now, this is where Jeff leaves a note and suggests that the submersible, remember the difference between a submarine and a submersible is a submersible just kind of goes down and then putters around, whereas a submarine can really stay underneath and actually drive and propel forward rather than just kind of putter around and maneuver. But anyway, Jeff, this channel owner here, indicates that, look, based on his quick calculations, it looks like they're descending too quickly. So it seemed like they were descending about 33% too fast. That's potentially problematic because likely you're not allowing the actual unit to acclimate to those different pressures quickly enough. So you're putting more pressure on more quickly onto the submersible. That could also end up damaging some of the other equipment, such as battery equipment or ballast equipment, and that ends up becoming very important in this. Take a look at this. So everything is normal at this point, with this exception that potentially they're descending too quickly. We go through some math here about how this is potentially too quick of a descent. And so what you'll find here is conversation. Everything's going superb, happy crew, smooth sailing, excellent conversations, great. Topside, you're at 75 minutes. Depth, do you need to adjust velocity? This is the first time they indicate the topside is like, seems like you're going a little faster than usual, about 33% further than you should be along on this trip. Do you need to slow down so you don't put too much pressure on this? Stockton Rush and the crew, apparently in the sub, suggest, no adjustments needed. We're good. It can handle it. And so, okay, this is where we can go through again and do a little bit more math and realize a little too fast, a little too far. So at 9:28 a.m., this is where things get interesting. The sub argues, we're noting an alarm from the real-time monitoring system. Now, the real-time monitoring system has regularly been talked about, something that Stockton Rush says, look, our RTM, our real-time monitoring is so good, we would know long before there would ever be an issue with the carbon fiber hull. Like, we've got a bunch of monitors monitoring the hull, and we send acoustic waves through the carbon fiber to see if there are any cracks or stresses in it. And that's the problem. Once you start getting damage in carbon fiber, that damage can compound very rapidly. So the goal is you continually, essentially acoustically measure that carbon fiber to determine, okay, are we, essentially consistently sturdy and structurally sound? Well, apparently now we've got alarms. This is where things start going bad, because now they finally reduce their velocity descent. So now if you've got alarms going off, I can imagine just at 9:28, you're probably not like getting a, little text message sound, we have a little alarm. It's probably like, some kind of, I could just imagine, I doubt there'd be like some sort of massive like flashing red U-boat alarm, but probably some sort of loud chime with some kind of indicators that something's wrong. I think right here at 9:28, everybody would probably be under the impression that, oh God, something is going wrong. And so here's what happens over the next timestamps. Again, some speed calculations. Here's a picture of approximately, based on Jeff's opinion, how far away they were from the Titanic. He gives a little bit more of a description on that. And then he suggests this. Topside says, do you need to ascend? Sub. No change with thrust. The rate of descent is increasing. At 35, going to release the ballast now. So here's a way to potentially release a filled unit of water to loosen the load of the tank and the air bubble within or parts of the tanks, the different ballasts of the vehicle. And now the air in the actual submersible should help it start rising, or at least slow its descent, right? Depending on what you remove. So the point is, you carry extra weight on a sub or submersible so that you actually sink. And then you can either pump air into your ballast to remove the water out of them with, compressed air that you have, and then you displace the water with uncompressed air that you're then injecting into the ballast, or you just detach them and basically dump them, which could not just be ballast, but they could also be metal piping or other heavy things just to weigh you down, basically. Anyway, so no improvement after the release of the ballast. Then they go for jettisoning the frame, which is basically just pressing a button and detaching the bottom of the actual submersible. So I'll hide myself here. The bottom of the entire submersible would just be detached. So that way you're basically saying, look, emergency mode, forget the landing gear or what you kind of sit on when you're up on the surface. Let's just get to the surface. Forget it. Ballast gone. Landing gear gone. Topside, affirmative. Update when available. Real-time monitoring indicator status. Frame jettisoned. Multiple attempts needed. But starting the ascent now, which sounds positive, right? But initially after the ballast, they got no improvement. They're still sinking. So then they jettison the frame, and now they're starting to go in the opposite direction. They've stopped their descent. Now they're ascending again, which is good. Now you're actually going up rather than down. This is where it gets scary. 9:36, 8 minutes into this. What's your status? RTM indicators, depth. You're not actually getting these responses. You're getting like really quickly typed back responses. Crackling sound at the aft. That's the last thing you want with carbon fiber. Could you imagine sitting in that sub that I showed you videos of? Just imagine yourself in this. You're looking at Stockton Rush, and he's like, I don't know what's going on. We're barely moving up. Why did it take so long to jettison? There's got to be frustration with that. Oh, the ballast isn't working. I mean, imagine in that sequence hearing that. Releasing the ballast. Oh no, that's not working. We're still descending. Should we jettison the frame? Let's jettison the frame. We jettison the frame. It's not going. It's not going. It's not going. Okay, we finally got it off. All right. All right, we're finally ascending. Like, everybody's going to be looking at Stockton. He's going to be like, dude, I've never heard this crap before. This is got to be the most eerie and disastrous, horrible ever possible way. I feel so bad for this situation. This is just bad. I'm sorry. Right, let's get back to the transcript. But this is terrible. Can you identify the sound? RTM indicators, negative. RTM status, trying to run diagnostics. Ascending now, but very slowly. Sounds have subsided. Okay, good. You don't want sounds, right? Global RTM, alert. All red. Every status indicator they have, red. Then what happens? We're at 942, right? Okay. Well, here we go. We're going to move forward. 942, 57. Understood. Any codes, depth, ascent rate. Update when available, please. Slow ascent in progress. Quarter predicted. Unclear why rate is so small. In other words, if you are trying to ascend at, let's say, 25 meters a minute, and you're only ascending at a rate of, let's say, 6 meters a minute, you'd be like, what happened? Did we take on water? This is weird, which is possible. Maybe those crackling sounds led to basically a part of this vessel filling up with water and weighing it down. Something is heavier than usual. Otherwise, if you got rid of the frame and the ballast, you should be going up even faster than normal. It should be 2x maybe what normal is, or at least 30 to 50% faster what normal is. Not slower than what normal is if you're not even taking all the parts back up. That's crazy. Top side, we're talking it over with the engineer. Stand by. Depth, status, please. What's the wattage on upward thrust? These are your smaller motors that just give you some drive up. Submersible. Reading red on the alpha power bus. That means one of your potentially, basically circuit breakers, so to speak, is not functioning. You're not getting power from either the battery bay at all or one of the battery bays. If you have your backup, B might be your backup, your Bravo battery bay. And unfortunately, well, we know where this goes. Anyway, that's at 946, reading red on A power bus, switching to B. And unfortunately, what happens after that? Well, that's it. No further communications from the sub at 946, which means we had just over 19 minutes of hell and agony inside this vessel where the cracking sounds returned. That's the scary part. The cracking sounds came back when they switched to B. You can see that there at the bottom. More sounds aft. It's basically collapsing as they're on it. This is terrible. And this is what the inside would have looked like. And you would have looked at the CEO and seen them panic to try to figure out why is this power unit not working? The A1's down too. This is weird. We're going up really slow. What are those sounds? Could you imagine being one of the uneducated, layman passengers who are like, we don't know anything about sub-engineering. You know, you're on it and you're just like, what the heck is gonna happen? It's unimaginable. Now, at the moment of implosion, the transition would have occurred likely quicker than anybody could have felt anything. Milliseconds. Such few milliseconds that your brain couldn't have even processed it. But to think these were the last thoughts or the last thing that they would have seen for 19 minutes. And then you hear this crack. It's really devastating. So what I encourage you to do is check out these channels so you can get a full view here. I will link both of these videos down below. Here's video 1, here's video 2. Again, these are unconfirmed, but they seem to be relatively on point. So let me know what you think. I wanted to bring your attention to it. It feels bad. My heart goes out to the family and all those involved. Now, I want you to know this. When it comes to AI, time is what's going to make you money. And if you can prove that value to an employer, you'll always be able to be employed. So this is another way of making sure that you don't get replaced by